So, and then you three are the voting members. We're gonna call the meeting to order, and I did not see any public comment. Did you have anything?
I did not get any public comment, nope. And just so you all know, we are recording this meeting and we typically post it on our YouTube page and make it available via our website.
Very good, thank you, Karen. We got the review of 4 LRV, low volume road grant applications and recommendations to the board of directors. I'll let Karen go through the applications that she received.
Yeah, so I do have a PowerPoint here to go over our applications. I think. You all see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Okay, so we're gonna start with Edgemont Township. They just finished up a project. Another smaller project on Forest Lane, I believe it was, and they submitted an application. At Pony Trail Drive, they have standing stormwater along the swale. So there's flooding issues and as a result in the winter, icing issues. There's also erosion problems, obviously passage problems, cars can't get through when it during heavy storms. And Ridley Creek is close by. I should have rearranged these slides so the pictures came first, but their proposed solution to the problem is actually very similar to a project that they installed at Forest Lane. This was the project that was awarded, but we did not fund because they did not pay prevailing wage because of a contract that they had with their road crew. So the project that was installed at Forest Lane, just so you know, ended up being a really great project. So they are replicating it for Pony Trail Drive here. They want to install 3 drop box inlets with sumps to collect the floodwaters. And those sumps are going to be connected by perforated piping wrapped in geotextile fabric and surrounded by stone. So it would allow for more infiltration of the floodwaters and therefore get that water off of the road. But also with the fabric and the stone, would filter out that water. So this is Pony Trail Drive. These are the problems that they're experiencing. I did go out and take a look during dry conditions. And they pointed out, and you'll see this in the next slide, but they pointed out an inlet. And then I think if you can see my mouse, I think right up here, there is, or maybe it's far, it might be farther up here, but there is an outlet that drains into the swale, but that system is no longer functioning properly. So as part of this project, they're going to be removing that and then installing these drop boxes. So there's the project location. You can see its proximity to this tributary and then Ridley Creek here. Here's the existing inlet and the end wall. And then this is the swale where they will be putting in those inlets and those sumps. And they are requesting $17,404 this project. And this is their sketch plan. And this current system here will be removed as part of this project. So here's the 3 inlets along the swale here. And after they tear up that swale, they will be putting down native seed that's good for moist soils. So as those plants grow, they can also help take out some of that stormwater.
So existing end wall, right at the inlet.
Right here, yes. So this is going to be removed because it's not currently doing anything.
Well, a 8-inch pipe probably wouldn't do anything with the volume of water that you're talking about.
Right, and I don't think that this inlet here is collecting a whole lot either because of the grade of the road. So all the water is being directed here at this moment, rather than going here and then here. And any water that is collected here, you know, if there is even any, it's just going into this area where there's.
I'm just suspecting, and then maybe we should verify this too, is that this area may be on the 100-year floodplain.
Okay.
We've had problems out here in the past with the guy that puts a horse rink in the floodplain, and there was bog turtle issues and everything else there. We also had a guy that, son that shot somebody, but he was building his house up on after Ridley Creek, he put a bridge across, and there was problems there as well, but,
Okay,
so it is a problematic area because it's so low and flat, but.
okay. I couldn't see the stream from where we were standing, but I did know that it was close by.
Okay, good.
So I can check with them about being in the floodplain or just.
Well, just
take a look at the map.
check on the map, yeah.
Next, Newtown Township, this is another replication of a project that they did. It's actually just extending an existing low volume road. Improvement project on Glendale Road, so phase 2. They are having erosion issues, large volumes of stormwater going down the side of the road and starting to scour out and the roadside ditch, and therefore the road is starting to crumble as well. So let's see. So at the bottom of Glendale Road, they do have some ponding issues. Their proposed solution is to install perforated piping, so to collect the storm water farther up the hill, wrap it in that geotextile fabric and stone for infiltration. And to help with the erosion problems, they put down river rock along the roadside ditch, which has actually surprisingly been positively received by the residents that live along there. But it helps with their stormwater issues. So they're extending this farther down Glendale Road. The original project that is completed, I think they completed earlier this year or last year, but that takes place up here. And they're extending it down the hill going this way. There is a stream, a very, very small stream down here, and they had originally proposed changing the stream crossing. But once they realized how strict the stream crossing policy is for the program, they took out that part of the project. So this is the extent of the project work. So they'll be putting in some inlets farther down. Okay, and they have an infiltration facility at the bottom of the hill here too, and that's disconnected from the small tributary going this way. There's this site photograph. This is kind of a collection area up here, and this is where the tributary starts. So the stream crossings down here. And then up here is where they would have that infiltration facility, and alongside the roadside ditch is where they would be putting in that river rock and that perforated piping. And they're requesting $35,000 to do this work. Any questions?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Okay, Thornberry Township submitted 2 applications. We'll start with Elstone Drive. Originally, they had me out to this site and said, here is the length of road that we want to repave. And that's not an eligible expense to simply repave a road, so we identified some stormwater issues along the road. Just pull it up here. This is where the water collects. There is an inlet here and a small pipe. Often, according to the township, water ponds along this side. So they're proposing to improve this collection area, turn it into a rain garden, and regrade the road to direct the water into this rain garden. Another problem, I think the main problem that they're having is the water that's currently collecting here is being directed to this end wall and eroding this property here. So another part of their proposal is to install a pipe that just directs the water farther down and then dissipates it at the bottom of the hill here. So they're requesting $72,533.45 to do this project. And per my calculations, it just over 35% of the total project cost is off right of way, so that would include that piping. My understanding is that the State Conservation Commission would need to approve anything over 35% of the total project cost off right of way before signing a contract. And obviously, the landowner would need to provide permission for that work to be done, but I think they would gladly have that work done on their property. Are there any questions about this site for now?
And it is correct, granite erosion probably is showing you that, but
There's not a ton of erosion. I think the problem that they're having, as far as road problems, a little bit of ponding here. I think the majority of the problem is the erosion coming out of the end wall here.
that's not that you
Yes.
have any photos
I
of
don't
that.
know, I'm sorry. So,
Have any sizing for the rain garden?
this what's shown here. I don't have any designs for the rain garden.
Yeah, I just wondered how much drainage area comes to it.
You can find that.
You probably should also have a design detail for what the rain garden consists of. Just everybody calls rain garden something different.
Right. Shall I move on? Any questions? Any other questions? Okay, this one I'll run through pretty quickly, just because I think almost 100% of the total project cost for this is off right of way work. So there's not a ton of road problems. They do have some sinking and scouring around the storm drain, but nothing of great concern at this moment. According to the neighbor came out to meet with us and the township public works, the township engineer and the public works department. So we looked at the road problems here. The main problem is this erosion. So all the water that enters this inlet here outfalls here. And they have tried putting in riprap, but as you can see, it's completely, well, it's not washed away, but it just keeps washing down. So there's scouring going on and farther down the hill. That ditch is very deep. I wouldn't say it's as tall as I am, but I did not feel safe stepping into it. There is a stream down here. So, like I said, there's not a major road problem, but there is a resource concern. There's definitely erosion happening off the right of way. I did talk to the State Conservation Commission and the Center for Dirt and Gravel Roads about this site. And we agreed that it might not be the best site for this, might not be the best fit for this particular grant program. The only.
I think it's a worthy program, project. It's just the idea that there's no road benefit, I guess is what you're saying.
Right, and I don't think that they would give approval for that much off right of way work. Unless there was more to be done, maybe if they were to put more inlets in, to capture more of that stormwater and spread it out up the road. But ultimately, the way that it is now, they said likely wouldn't be a good fit for the program. So they're requesting $50,910.75 for this. So before we get into, making a recommendation to the board, this is the overall map. So this is the existing pipe here, the water collects at the cul-de-sac, and then outfalls here. Then they proposed extending the pipe here and then having a dissipation, feature down below for riprap. But again, like I said, most of the work would consist of this off right of way work, and then the slope there is very steep as well. So I wanted to bring up our spending requirement. So Beth, I don't know if Chester County has gone over this, but we are reaching the end of the 5-year agreement that we have with the State Conservation Commission. And as a result, we're required to spend the entirety of our previous 5-year agreement by June of 2024. So right now, we have available 4 projects, $168,545.98. We have $38,000 committed to Nether Providence Township. And we are required to spend $121,000 by June 2024. So if Nether Providence spends their full grant amount, then we are required to award and spend $82,000 by June 2024. So our total grant request, the 4 projects that we just reviewed, comes in at $175,848.20. So let's talk about making a recommendation to our board. We'll start with Edgemont Township. Well, let me share my thoughts. I talked to Ed earlier today about these projects. Edgemont and Newtown, both of those projects have been successfully installed at their sites before, and both townships have completed those projects. Edgemont is now very aware of the prevailing wage problem that we had before. I think both of these projects would be a good fit for the low volume road program. Thornberry, because both of their projects exceed the minimum off right of way work for the total project cost, I think that we would need to do some more work with the State Conservation Commission if we're interested in funding those sites. And
The second one, you said Edgemont, you were recommending.
yes, I'm sorry. So Edgemont and Newtown, I think would be good fits.
Where's the Newtown? I'll go. Well, that sheet up. 35,000.
Yes. So if Edgemont and Newtown, if those are funded, that would come out to about $52,000. Thornberry, both projects I think would need more work if we're interested in funding those at all. The other option would be to not recommend those projects and invite other applicants to submit applications to help us reach our spending requirement, because we do have a rolling application now.
Well, on that other one though, the one Thornberry is really close. I think it's worth pursuing to find out whether they would approve that.
This one?
With the rain garden they're adding, so there is a road benefit there.
Mhm.
And then there is just slightly off, percentage wise, be off right away, but if the erosion is anything like the one you showed, I think it's worth getting the State Conservation Commission to look at that and see whether it'd be eligible.
Okay.
And that's
So-
what, go ahead.
So- I just want to ask about the other one. So does it has to have a road benefit? It can't just be like, like a resource concern coming off of the road? Like that last one?
Yeah, there
And then-
does have to be a road benefit too, and that's been a challenge because, I mean, the road problems that we've seen are flooding, cracking, and the cracking results in sedimentation. And then scouring out of a road base. But, you know, like, let's see. This could be considered a road problem. Because the road base is starting to scour, and if it keeps collecting as much stormwater as it gets, it could become a serious problem, but it's hard to see that and see a road problem. There's no cracking in the road itself.
Right.
But yes, there does have to be a road benefit of the project as well as the environmental benefit.
Because the erosion there is really significant.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
and I'm also sensitive to the need to spend that allocation in order to keep that funding coming. And I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's also very possible to award some of these contracts and not have all the money spent by June. Is that
yes, that's very
Right.
possible. Yeah.
so?
Yeah, because they do have a year from the date of the contract to complete their project. So even if we were to sign a contract in October or November, according to the contract, they do still have until October or November, but if we are racing to meet our spending requirement, we can still issue a 50% advance as needed to help
Okay.
us get there. So that's an option too.
So did I understand that the discussion here is, do you want to keep talking to State Conservation Commission and work with Thornberry to get these applications to a place where they would be approved by them? Or are you deciding whether or not do it at all and pursue new applications? Is that the discussion point here?
Yeah, I did, like I said, I started the conversation with the State Conservation Commission for this project here. Because the scouring and the erosion is so bad. But in there, when we went over the project, you know, they saw that it was mostly off right of way work, and they really can't fund that. They don't have the authority to fund off right of way projects. And there's, like I said, there's really not any road work that was proposed for this project. So if we want to pursue this site, we would need to do a lot more involved site visits. I think more hand-holding as far as design goes. And if we were to install, like, for example, the State Conservation Commission recommended putting in additional inlets with more stormwater piping to spread out that stormwater, I could see that cost skyrocketing pretty quickly.
And what kind of information do you have about other potential projects that might come in? Have you talked to any other townships that
We had
have
a really,
things?
yeah, we had a really great project for Concord Township, but they ended up canceling their contract. They think there may be future development happening at their site, and they don't want to put a grand project into something that may eventually be moved. So they withdrew that contract. They said they were going to submit another one. But they never did, and that was the site that we had visited before, so they have all the resources they need to develop something. There are a handful of municipalities that are ESM certified, and therefore I assume that they'd be interested, so if we want to go that route, I could do outreach and go out with them to talk about, you know, some project sites and what we're trying to accomplish through the program.
And I guess
Go ahead, Beth, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say it would be possible to sort of recommend approval for the first two projects, not recommend it for the two Thornberry projects, and then do additional outreach and potentially work with Thornberry to improve their application if need be, correct?
So you're thinking like a hybrid, so we could still consider Thornberry, but then also invite other applicants to submit for projects?
Yeah, just
We have another $80,000 too, so.
Right.
I'm just thinking to spend the money and not not get any more money. If you don't have any other applicants, maybe I'm weighing the benefit and the cost and benefit of hand holding to get this project through. If you have folks that are applying and you get a bunch of applications in the next couple months, then that makes sense. But if no one is interested and no one's ready to go and they don't have the projects, then you maybe want to do some hand holding to get that spending up to where it needs to be. I don't know, Ed, what you think about that, but I'm just I hate to focus on the money, but I'm just alarmed at what would happen if you couldn't get it spent.
Right, and that's something that we have to weigh, is the quality of projects versus meeting our spending requirement.
But on the first Thornbury one with the rain garden, we didn't have a definite no on that one. So I would think it's worth working with the State Conservation Commission to say that we're trying to eliminate a road problem and an erosion problem and see if they can approve that one. And then we would have to recommend it after we get approval from them. The other one, the other one's a little tighter because it doesn't have any road benefit shown on the plan.
Right. I mean, I think that makes sense to me to recommend the first two and then go back and work with the State Conservation Commission to see about the first Thornbury one.
So would we tentatively, I mean, I guess we can still make a recommendation to approve this, the
State Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
Approval.
Do we want to move forward with the motion for those recommendations?
Please, somebody would like to make that motion.
I will make that motion.
And you have the wording for the motion, Karen?
Let's see. So a motion then to approve Edgemont Township at Pony Trail Drive for $17,404. Newtown Township at Glendale Road for $35,000. And then Thornbury Township at Elstone Drive for $72,533.45 pending State Conservation Commission approval of the off-road work.
That sounds good to me.
Yep, same here.
We have a second then. We would. Gavin, you made a second?
Yep. I
Okay,
think
yeah,
the last Thornbury Township one, I think that's more kind of a pollution issue because of the large amount of, debris that it kind of washed out. So I definitely need to think about that and maybe find a different way to approach that one.
Yeah, and maybe we could work with Thornbury when we have the State Conservation Commission here to see if they could decrease the runoff volume by putting in an infiltration or rain garden, just like they did on the other ones, and then we'd be back in.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and we even started the conversation of exploring other potential grant programs for that site. Because it is a resource concern, but again, maybe not the best fit for this particular program. So. Okay, so we have that recommendation, so we'll bring.
Any other discussion on that recommendation? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it.
So as far as next steps, then we'll bring this to our board meeting today. And then I'll follow up with the State Conservation Commission and the Center for Dirt and Gravel Road Studies about doing some site visits in Thornbury. And see what we can do for Elstone Drive and maybe just come up with other solutions for Timberlane.
Good.
Great.
Anything else for the good of the order?
I don't think so.
Then we're in for a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Motion's been made by Karen. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
The ayes have it. Thanks, everyone, I really appreciate your attendance and participation in this and some guidance on these issues. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank
just-
you.
I'm not gonna be able to call into the board meeting. I have a doctor's appointment, so I will see you guys